Hi, Sarah here with a special layout process video for you today. This is for the National Scrapbooking Day. We are doing some challenges over in the UK Scrap Addicts Facebook group, and I'm doing challenge 11, so this is the accompanying video for that. Each of our challenges is sponsored, and this one is sponsored by Artful Days, who's offering the 4 stamps you saw at the beginning of the video. So thanks so much to Artful Days. And so do head over to the group if you want to join in this weekend. I will leave links below for you to be able to join in, and I'll also leave links to Artful Days, our sponsor for this challenge. So my challenge is challenge 11, Phantom Menace. It's to do a layout that's about a cheeky little menace, someone who plays practical jokes, or you could go in a different direction and go with something like a ghastly, menacing experience. So I've gone with cheeky little menace because I have one of those definitely in my life. And so to begin with here, I am just creating my own background ready because I've got some embellishments but I didn't have enough paper to go with it, so I thought I'll just create my own background using colours that are in the rest of my papers. So to do that, I've used Distress Oxides in Mermaid Lagoon, Twisted Citron, Spiced Marmalade and Squeezed Lemonade, and I've put them through a stencil first of all, and then now I'm going around the edge and just blending them together just to create a bit of a border around the whole thing, because it looked a bit stark with just the stars on their own. And it's not perfect, but I don't worry about that because now I'm going to add some water droplets, let them sit, and then they activate with the Distress Oxides, and then I'll just roll some paper over the top and it adds an extra layer of interest to the background. I'm just making sure I've got it all over my layout first, and then I'm just going to roll off the water, and as you can see I've got those lovely distressed marks all over it now. And then I'm just going back in, adding a few more where I feel like there's not enough there, and just dabbing those up straight away so it's got a different level of distress. They're not as dark, not as stark as the other ones. So now I've finished my background, I'm going to leave that to dry and add this stamp here. It's just a scripty stamp. I can't remember the brand, I'm sorry. I think it was from Hobbycraft. It might be by the Crafter's Companion company, I'm not sure though. So I'm just using some VersaFine grey ink, and I don't want a really dark impression, that's why I didn't use black, because I didn't want it to be overpowering on the background. I just wanted to add a little bit more to the background there. And now I'm going to be adding some texture paste. This one is the Bow Bunny Glitter Paste in Ruby Red, I think it's called. And I'm just going to mix it up in there, and the reason I'm using this, it might seem like a bit of a contrast to the background, but within the embellishments that I'm using there is red foil, so it actually does work later on, you'll see. So I'm just pushing it through the stencil. It takes a bit more work because of the glitter in this to get it to go through, plus the stencil's a nice fine one, so it does take a bit more to push it through the stencil. And I just cut a bit of that out there because otherwise the video would go on forever. So there's the finished stars, and I decided to put them round about where I wanted my little photos to be going. Now I've done that, I want to make the stamped bits blend in with the background, so I added some pumice stone, I think it was, distressing, just normal distressing, just edged all around the layout just to add a bit more to the background there as well. And now I'm just going to take my papers. This kit's by Mind the Scrap, by the way. It's a couple of years old now though, I think, so it's obviously not available anymore. And I'm just adding my paper layers behind my photos. What I do is I add foam as well between each layer so that it just adds a bit more dimension, and then I can tuck in embellishments in between the layers if I wish to do so. I also do distress the edges of my papers with some scissors. I have these cute little frames also in the kit that I used today, and I am just going to frame the main photo at the bottom and then just one of the little ones where my little boy would not behave for the photo. So I'm just tearing a few different papers and just layering them behind them tiny photos as well, so that they don't end up lost in the background. Next up, I'm using these lovely resin pieces from Artful Days, the sponsor, and I'm just adding some clear gesso to them using a brush, and I just let that dry. I don't show the entire thing. Let that dry, and then I will add some colour on top of that later. So here's the foam I use. I use foam from Hobbycraft's children's section rather than buying foam tape, because it gives an even coverage on the back. You just trim it to size and it's so much cheaper as well. So I tend to add a few layers, and then I double it up because it is quite thin foam, so I sometimes double it up if I want to lift a photo more, because I want this one to lift slightly more than the others because it is the main focal point. And I'm just going to stick together my little photos, add a little bit of foam between those as well, and add them to the background. My photos here are from when I went out with my mum when she was visiting, and we tried to get a nice picture with my little boy, and he would not stop going cross-eyed and giggling, and it took so long to get a picture where he was smiling. Unfortunately, the one where he's smiling, my mum's looking down, but never mind, it was a fun memory anyway to record. So now I've taken my Distress Oxides again. I'm just adding a very little bit of water just to make the ink move more easily, and then I'm adding it onto these stars. I'm doing the darker colour around the edge, and then I'm coming in with the lighter colour on the peaks of the stars, and then I'm just blending them together afterwards in the corners. As you can see with this first one, I don't show this for all of them because again the video would be very, very long, and that is the general effect. And I did one with the blue and green and one with the orange and yellow, so that they blend in nicely with the background. And now I'm just adding a little bit of foam behind each of those smaller photos, and then I'll stick them down after. So I'm grabbing my embellishments now. I just want to add them dotted around here and there in between the stars, and then I've got some stickers as well. Again, I'm just arranging them around the layout. I do end up taking that cat one off because I find that it's too much, and I didn't want to draw away from the photo by having such a bold cartoony character right on the picture. And then I'm just adding in those foil lightning bolts, stars, and now my thickers. These are really sticky and I ripped the bottom, as you can see, but I just carried on. I thought I'll deal with that later and you'll see how I dealt with it later in a minute. And now I'm just gluing the whole lot down with my 3D gloss gel because I've got some mixed media and it's glittery. It really helps the paper bond because otherwise it probably just peel back off again. I find that a lot with once you're layering on top of texture paste. And as you can see, I just grab my blending tools and blend the colours over the top until it's pretty much gone now, so I'm happy with that, that'll do. And now I'm just adding some word stickers over each of the photos to form a sentence. And I've covered up my photos, and I'm just going to finish off with some splashes of Cherry Heidi Swap Colour Shine, which I think makes the stars look less sort of angled and less stenciled, if that makes sense. So I just add that all around the edge just as a finishing touch. So that is me done. Thanks for joining me. Do like and subscribe UK Scrap Addicts to see more process videos, and I'll also leave my personal channel below if you want to subscribe to me to see more of my videos. Thanks again to our sponsor Artful Days, and go head over to UK Scrap Addicts and join in for the National Scrapbooking Weekender. So here's some close-ups. Have a great day everyone. Bye.